Hello and welcome to the Northland. So today I got kind of a special treat. We're going to interview Dave. He's got his own shop here at RPD Motor Sports. He's got a couple of cool drag cars in here. We're going to ask him some questions and we'll go from there. Hello, I am here with Dave at RPD Motor Sports, Repair, Performance, and Diagnostics. And we've got a couple of cool drag cars here that we're going to talk about. When did you get your start in racing?
Probably 4 years ago.
4 years ago?
Yeah.
And I think when I talked to you last, in fact, a funny story behind this, I met Dave at Quick Trip down the street. And when we were talking, I learned that he was in this shop. I don't know if this shop looks familiar to you all. When we interviewed Tyler from St. Customs, now St. Nordic, he was in this same exact shop. And I walked in here one day before I knew that Tyler was gone, and I said, "Hey, where's Tyler?" He said, "Oh, he's not here anymore." So it's kind of funny that he is now in this same shop. So I understand. I think when we talked, you said you have only taken these cars to Brainerd, is that right? Or
Yep.
okay. So which is your favorite car?
That's tough. In terms of driving and attention, that's my favorite car. In terms of working on it and maintenance, that car over there.
Sounds easier to work on.
A lot easier to work on. Two completely different beasts of a car. Take this one all day to work on. The vet life is not for the weak. So
when you go to Brainerd, do you take them both, or do you flip a coin and say, "I'm going to take this one today"?
You know, as seldom as I go to Brainerd, whichever one's running.
Okay,
Whichever one's not blown up
okay.
at the time, you know. If there's changes I make to one or the other, I'd like to test the changes first. So yeah, whichever car's running, to answer your
Now,
question.
I have not ran at Brainerd yet. That's only quarter mile, correct?
Yep, yeah.
What kind of times you run in quarter mile?
Fastest I've had that one is like 850. So, yeah.
Let's get a shot. What year is this Corvette?
It's a 2002 hardtop Z06 fixed roof.
Okay.
Fixed roof coupe is what they call it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What kind of horsepower? Have you had it on the dyno?
I've had it in the dyno.
What kind of horsepower?
It makes well over 1,000.
Oh, amazing.
About double that.
Oh, nice.
So and that's on kill. This thing is built for the street. My cars are generally built for the street, not for the track. Not huge into the track. I'm more into being able to drive in the street, drive to the grocery store.
Nothing like taking a 1,000 horsepower car to get groceries, right?
Correct. Correct. You know, and I can't say it's a true street car. It doesn't have wipers, but it is street legal. Has all the lights, full interior, radio, sound system, all that good stuff is working.
So when you bought this car, did you buy it with the intention of doing this, or was this kind of an afterthought?
It evolved over a few years. When I bought this car, I bought it from a buddy of mine, actually local, and it was already turboed. It had a completely different setup. It was making around 1,000 wheel horsepower at the time, and had some bugs to work out when I bought the car. Actually, I was just gonna drive the car and it was the most power I'd ever played with at the time. So it took a lot of getting used to. But I got used to it pretty quick. You know, and I got bored, and like any gearhead, you get bored, you want more. And you start chasing horsepower.
So how much stuff do you break on an annual basis?
Both of them. You know, it really depends. This is still a completely new setup. I've got less than 1 season on this setup, and obviously still working out bugs. It's always a battle. If you get a new setup, you find the bugs, you change it, you get new bugs, try to work those out. You're always, if you live this kind of lifestyle, you're always wrenching, you're always changing, you're always trying to make something better, maybe a little safer.
Repairs.
Repairs, yeah. It's never ending. These things take maintenance.
Yep.
You don't build something like this and not maintain it. It doesn't maintain itself.
Exactly.
You know? So
Maybe we can get a little closer shot of this engine. Do you want to? I mean, is there any? I want to say one particular. I'm sure you're proud of the whole thing, but is there anything you're most proud of on this engine that is? I don't know if I want to say your signature piece or your maybe something that you came up with on your own, or
honestly, the design of this kit. I helped with the design of this kit. I did not fabricate this kit. All that credit's going to go out to Tony Bickford over at Bickford Fabrication. He's my fab guy, mentor of mine, really good friend of mine. Learned a lot from him over the years, but
maybe what I'll do is I'll get that information from you, and then we'll put that information in the description below. And if any at least local people, if they're interested, they can get a hold of him too. And then I'll at the end get your information too. We can put that in there if you want.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But honestly, my favorite part about this car is the way it looks. Once you get a front shot, you'll kind of see how it's set up. But kind of to give you a rundown, it's 1 7/8 headers off the heads. It's a full 3-inch hot side divided. Merged into a flange there, the Maven mount flange, all 304 stainless, hand welded, hand polished. This is all done by Tony Bickford over at Bickford Fabrication. The entire setup, I kind of helped, and I told him a vision of mine that I had, and we kind of went back and forth and bounced ideas off each other, and he started going to town, and he just he knocked it out of the park like he does every single time. So that's probably my favorite part, is the way it looks. It looks like it means business, and it means business. If I wish it was running right now, I could start it up for you guys. I've never heard anything that sounds like it. So.
Well, you know what? That just gives me a reason to come back.
Exactly.
So whenever you get it running, if you want to let me know, I'll come back and we'll get some video of it running and get some cool sound to it.
No
Have you ever heard of? I mean, what you were talking about reminds me of, we took a cruise with the Mustang Club to La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Toby Race Products. Have you ever heard of them?
I have not.
They fabricate, their big thing is suspension work.
Okay.
And as I understand it, they're one of the top race shops in the country for suspension stuff.
Yeah.
And so when you were talking about the fabrication part of it, I thought that was, very, very similar to.
Right. Now it takes a lot to get a car to come together like this. Cannot do it all by myself, that's for sure. I do all the wiring, all the wrenching, motor, stuff like that. All the setup, all the diagnostic work, all the drivability stuff. Also, another big shout out to my tuner, Stephen Keeney, over at Zambroda. He can't say enough good things about him. I've known him for a few years now. Another guy that I really look up to in this industry, and he treats every car, whether it's 300 horsepower, 3,500, as if it was his own. And he really nailed it on the tune on this thing. From start up to wide open throttle, he just nailed it.
So this is going to help me too, because I'm fairly new at this whole, and of course my stuff doesn't look anything like this yet, anyway.
Yeah.
But the only one I've been familiar with is what's the I can't remember the name of them now. They were over here in Rogers, specializing in Mustangs. I'll think of it; it'll come to me. But yeah, they're the only ones that I was familiar with for this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So
talking to you, I can learn other places to go, as can the viewers.
Absolutely.
It's nice when you have options.
Yep.
So
absolutely. It's always good to have options out there, whether it's a distance thing or a price thing, or just want to have other places to take your vehicle and somebody's backed up. It's nice to know that there's options out there.
Right. Let's check out this red one.
Yeah. She's apart right now.
what year is this one?
This is also a 2002.
2002.
Yep, this is my Trans Am, my Firebird. I went to Texas last year and actually picked this up. I traded my G8 GT for it. Got it back here and immediately went to town on it. Changed a lot.
And have you had this one on the dyno yet?
Yeah, yep. So this one on the previous setup was a T4 turbo setup. It was a Ron speed, made a little, pretty damn near close to 1,000 horsepower. And that's through a TH400 on a dyno. TH400s on dynos, typically the dyno will. Yeah, haven't had this one actually to the track yet, so I don't know what it's actually trapping and what it's actually making. It could be making more, could be making a little less, so.
So when I met you at Quick Trip, you were in this car, and I remember you had a computer in here, and you said you were chasing something. Did you ever find a problem?
There's so many problems. I can't remember what problem I had that day.
That's fair enough. It was probably, what, about a month ago, maybe?
Yeah, I was probably, if it was a nice day out, I was probably doing some data logging, some cruising, just looking for issues.
Okay.
I send tunes back and forth, data logs back and forth with my tuner over in Zimbrota, and we just check. We're always checking things out. We're
So
always
your tuner, do they tune both these cars?
correct.
So you don't have one for that one and a different one for this one?
No, they're both aftermarket ECUs. They're both on Holly Terminators, 58X setups. So yeah, one laptop to tune the whole systems.
Okay. Sure looks fun.
Yeah, it's just a single turbo stock bottom N53 setup. It's got a pretty decent suspension setup in it, and my new turbo kit's actually going to be done next week. That'll be shipping out by the end of next week, so I'm excited for that.
Kind of I'm assuming you've had this one at Brainerd too, right?
No, this
Oh,
one
yeah,
is
you
not.
know.
This one has not been to a track.
Okay.
Not in my possession, no.
Okay.
So I ran some pretty good 60 to 130 times out on the street. That's all going to change with the new setup. It's going to be totally different. I have to dial it in differently. That's going to be starting over.
We gotta get you to go to Grove Creek with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, you're gonna smoke me. But
That's all right. I'll get smoked
That'll
by
be
somebody
fun.
else. You know, there's
You know?
always somebody faster than you.
Exactly. I was just gonna say,
know?
it's just like it's just like with anything. There's always somebody stronger. There's always somebody faster. There's always, you're always gonna find somebody that's better than you. So.
Exactly. Exactly.
But what's nice is, I think what I like about at least my limited experience, this community, that being at least drag racing community, people always seem willing to help.
Absolutely.
It's not like, you know what, I spent my life doing this, screw you, I'm not going to tell you nothing.
Right.
So I remember my very first time out at Grove Creek, there were guys out there giving me all kinds of tips and pointers, and I thought that was awesome. I certainly didn't expect that, so I think
Right.
that's pretty cool. So
It's something that I really love about the community, the industry is just that, the willingness to help and to pass knowledge on. We all start from somewhere, we don't all start in the garage with our dad wrench and
exactly.
pulling motors when we're 3. You know what I mean? Some of us we're not born into it, and we just kind of walked into it.
Yep.
So
When I got out of the service, I had my GI Bill. I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. This was always kind of something that interested me, not just like the racing part, but cars in general.
right.
And my father was not a mechanically inclined person, and I mean, he was lucky that he could change his own oil.
Right.
So I didn't have any kind of a background in anything. I used it to go to school, and I did not finish. I ended up quitting half semester and moved back to Alaska, but it is still something that interests me. I just not sure it's something I wanted to do for a living.
Right.
Since it's a constantly evolving industry, I mean, cars are constantly changing, it's kind of like being a doctor, I suppose. You have to continually go to school
Yeah.
to learn new procedures, and it's just like, I could not see doing that for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, as a hobby, doing it on my own stuff, whatever, or helping out friends is cool, but not as a living. So my hat's off to you for wanting to help people work on their cars. And
Yeah, absolutely. It's so everybody starts somewhere. there's a lot of questions I had when I first started, and there's a couple guys that kind of pushed me in the right direction. You know, they wouldn't hold your hand, but they'd give you some tips. They'd push you in the right direction. But being self-taught is something that I really hold dear to myself. I do maintenance and stuff by trade. I've been doing it for 8 years in the field as a diesel mechanic, so it kind of comes as a second nature to me. Then I come here and I get to do fun stuff and fast stuff and unique stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's different than your general maintenance for the most part. Not that we get away from general maintenance, but yeah, we like to have fun.
As far as maintenance goes, is there anything, again, mainly for myself too, but for viewers watching, when you get to be into a car like 1,000 horsepower cars, what would you say maintenance-wise is the most important thing to watch for or to keep an eye on?
Honestly, your general maintenance is second to none. Whatever you're doing before for your normal maintenance, double or triple that. I don't know, to kind of give you an example, again, these are street cars, so I track mileage on them. Obviously, I check fluids daily. I do pre-trips every time before I go out. I'm checking tire pressure, I'm setting tire pressure, I'm checking all fluids before start, checking fluids after start, a warm start. Honestly, maintenance is key to keeping these things alive. They need a lot more work than your average car. You can't just drive it and abuse it all the time. And I think that's a huge misconception for a lot of people. I know guys at Dyno Tune run into this a lot. And guys will bring their car over and it's just not even close to ready to be dyno. It's just not safe. It's not ready, you know. So that's one thing I try to do to help my tuner out actually before I bring it to him is make sure it has fresh plugs in it. Make sure it's all topped off on oil. Make sure trans fluid is full. Make sure coolant's full. Make sure all your leaks are buttoned up. Do a few hot starts and double check, triple check for leaks. Tighten all your clamps.
Yep.
Put a wrench on everything. And you should be doing that before you go out. Anytime you go out to race, because it could be your last race if you don't.
Exactly.
You know, so you got to take it seriously.
Yep. Especially when you're doing 100 plus miles an hour and quarter mile or so. The last thing you need is for something catastrophic to happen.
Right.
Which reminds me, now that I've thought about it, it's DB Performance. They were in Rogers.
Yeah.
I think they've moved now to Malacca maybe or something like that.
Yep, I know who those guys are.
I used to go there. I took my car there. I shouldn't say used to. I go there several times. But I remember what you were saying about the dyno. I was there one time and they had somebody's car on the dyno, and like you were saying, they were constantly they'd run it, they'd get it up to speed and shut it down, and then they'd be, and it was like, I think I was probably there an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And that whole time they never got one dyno run in because they were constantly. And it's like, why would you? I mean, if you're gonna take your car to a dyno, unless they were there trying to find out what was wrong with it, but if, like you say, if you're gonna go and have a dyno, why wouldn't you make sure your car is ready for it?
Right. So, and a dyno is, a tool more than anything for tuners. It's when you go, you should be ready for your tuner, just out of respect for your tuner and your own wallet, because the longer you're on it, the more you're gonna pay.
Yeah, that's because they were charging per hour.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what the dollar figure was per hour, but
right.
Versus going, like when I took my car to the dyno, it was just basically 3 runs. I knew there wasn't anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, I did the base to find out what it made, and then after I did my changes, I took it in, and I had to, 3 runs in again to see what the change was. And so that, that was a little bit different animal than paying per hour, which I think could really cost somebody big money, especially if you're not ready, right? So
I think a lot of people, they get so set on going fast and getting it done, that they do over time start overlooking things such as maintenance, your basic maintenance, and it's super important. You gotta stay on top of it.
Not so much this car, but your other car, I noticed you have the skinnier front tires on.
Yeah.
Now, I have not done that to my car yet.
Sure.
For the drag strip purposes.
Yep.
How much of a difference would you say that makes the skinnier front tire versus a regular size front tire?
Honestly, that's what came with the car. That's all I've ever ran on.
Okay.
So I mean, going from this car to that car is, again, it's not really comparable. It's an IRS car versus a solid axle car. That car definitely drives smoother than this car for sure. Honestly, I couldn't give you an honest opinion on that. I don't swap them around. I just drive around on those all the time. So
Okay.
yeah, they work well.
Good. All right, so you care to share with the viewers what you do here at your shop?
Yeah, so over here at RPD, you said it earlier, Repair Performance Diagnostics. When I came up with the name, I thought really long and hard about it and what I wanted it to symbolize to me. And that's exactly what I do here is Repair Performance and Diagnostics. I get a lot of cars in here from other shops around the state that I've have had issues that other shops have not been able to figure out. And I help these guys diagnose issues. I try to save the customer money by not selling them things that they don't need and get straight to the problem. Spend a little bit more time on diagnostics. We get to the problem and we correct that problem. We send them out happy. We do a ton of wiring here, electronics, installations, motor builds, transmission work, setups, CO2 setups, plumbing, fuel systems, all sorts of stuff. We don't get much into the fabrication side of things, not yet anyways. We're getting into the tuning side of things where I'm going through some training right now, have been the last year. Got a ways to go on the tuning side of things before I open that up to my clientele. But I do see myself trying to get a dyno at some point. We're gonna expand from this shop. We're already kind of outgrowing it, so that's kind of where we're going to become a full speed shop, actually.
Okay.
In-house tuning, dyno, full repair facility.
So if somebody wants to bring their car to you, do they need to make an appointment, or is it kind of a first come first served deal? Or
Yeah, honestly, like right now, it's actually been pretty steady. Winter's pretty busy. People want their stuff fixed. They want it ready for spring. It's all based on what we have going at the time. There's slow periods. There's times where I can't fit cars in the shop.
So they should just call you to see,
Yeah.
Try to plan ahead if you're going to, if you want Dave to work on your car, and let him know ahead of time what you're looking at, so you don't end up in a bind needing your car in a week and he can't get you in. So
Right, and I advise to always reach out way ahead of what you think you're gonna need to get in a week. Contact me a month before, and we can get your work done.
So speaking of that, we should probably get your contact information, your social media you'd like to share. Of course, all
Yeah.
this I'll put in the links in the description below too. But do you care to share any of that?
Yeah, so I've got a website, we're working on it. Facebook right now, RPD Motor Sports LLC. If you can link that, I'll send you a link. You can throw on the bottom of the video or the description. It'll have a picture of my black vet, and then my company logo. It'll have that as well. So that's the best place. You can hit send message, comes directly to me. I respond likely within an hour.
Okay,
So that's the best place to reach me.
awesome. Do you have a phone number too you'd like to share? Or
Yeah. Well, I'll give you that, and you can put it in the description, and they can reach out. So,
All right. We can do that.
outside of that, it's the best place to reach me.
All right.
So,
Well, I think that'll conclude our interview for today. If anybody wants to reach out to Dave, again, I will put his information in the description below. I'll probably also plaster it up on the screen here. Or if you're afraid of Dave, you contact me and I'll get a hold of him. I got his phone number. So,
absolutely.
either way, if you have questions or whatever, I have no doubt that he knows what he's talking about. So.
Yeah.
And as you can see by the project cars, he's not afraid to dive into problems.
No, that's what we do here, and I really appreciate you coming out here and offering to interview me. I've never done something like this, so it's kind of on the fly, and sorry if I'm a bit awkward, you two. But yeah, reach out to us with any needs. There's not a lot we can't do here. We're not afraid of anything. We're not specific to the LS platform. We'll work on anything. We'll do from major repairs down to general maintenance and anything in between. One thing I did want to mention that I forgot to mention is we do injector cleaning here as well. So any port injector we can get cleaned for you guys. It's a service that we offer. So that's one of your maintenance items yearly.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I think I just kind of got carried away and didn't think about it. Obviously, these are not Fords, but as the man said, even if you have a Ford, he'll work on it. So.
Yeah, that's what I do. I've been in the field 8-9 years now, and we'll work on anything here: diesel, gasoline, small engine, 4-wheelers, weed whips, backpack blowers. So we don't.
All right, I know where I'm coming when I got a problem.
Absolutely, we like different. We like unique.
We want a souped up lawnmower.
Yep. I think we all want that one.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
1,000 horsepower lawnmower, that'd be all right.
That'd be a first for me, but that would be fun.
All right, brother. Well, I thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it, and hopefully we'll stay in touch.
Absolutely, yeah. This thing will be running in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and maybe I'll shoot you a text and go for a ride.
We're going to the track June 10th.
Okay.
On Grove Creek. So if you have it running,
yeah, I will let you know.
We're gonna have a bunch of Ford Mustangs out there.
All right, so I gotta come out and fit in.
We're gonna try and gang up on you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just put a blue oval on it. They won't even notice.
Not at all. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you.
Make sure you hit that like and subscribe even if you didn't like the video. I'd appreciate it. You smash that like button with whatever you have handy. Make sure you hit the little bell at the bottom so you'll know anytime I upload a new video. Share it with anybody you think may be interested. And even if you don't think they'll be interested, share it anyway. All right. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. We'll see you in the next video.